Happy World Fish Migration Day, everyone. Here is a little greeting from the Delta outside of Lillehammer, Norway. As we have covered in previous events, this is an area with high biodiversity. This is home to some of the largest migrations of freshwater fish in Scandinavia, and I will try to briefly explain why that is. It might seem surprising because right now it looks like a barren mudflat. The key here is seasonal flooding and the diverse habitats that are created as a result. And it is exactly that which gives this area its diverse fish community. Just south of us is Lake Mjøsa, which is home to 20 species of freshwater fish. That is almost 2/3 of all species found in Norway. In this deep and oligotrophic lake, the lakeshore itself is very rocky and the water temperature remains low well into summer. Several of the species are adapted to completing their life cycle in this environment and in the rivers that drain into the lake. But many species require vegetation and warmer temperatures, especially for spawning and rearing. In river deltas and floodplains, the situation is much different. Here we find soft substrate with little wave action or ripping river currents, which makes it possible for aquatic vegetation to grow. Here the eggs can attach to grasses and reeds, and the vegetation provides cover for the juveniles. We are just a week or two out from what is likely going to be the main run-up of the year. And that is when the river delta will become inundated due to rising lake levels and increased river discharge. So during the snowmelt, the river will spill onto its floodplain and fill up side channels and backwaters. Together with an increasing lake level, it inundates a large section close to its estuary. Here we find slacker currents and more abundant vegetation than along the rocky lakeshore. Furthermore, the shallow water in these floodplain habitats warms up quicker than the cold meltwater in the main river. This is important for the spring spawning fishes that are just waiting for that big surge of water. Because we are so far north, a fast development of embryos and larvae is necessary to make the juveniles large enough during their first summer. And that is exactly what this shallow delta permits, a suitable, warm microclimate in an otherwise cold environment. In fact, many of the species do not exist farther north than here, and these local populations form the leading edge of their distribution. The creation of this mosaic of habitat types simply requires space. We don't need to engineer anything, but the river will provide the processes that are necessary to create and maintain a plethora of microhabitats. Constraining river flow, or the area in which it can operate, will alter these processes, with potentially detrimental ramifications for fish and other organisms. Ensuring flow and longitudinal passage is critical, and allowing the river to spread out laterally is necessary to maintain functional habitats for the entire community of fish. So with that, we wish everyone a happy World Fish Migration Day, and we thank you for caring about fish and their habitats.